Hello and welcome to lesson number 3 with me, Sara Spade, also known as the Ukulele Lady. Today what we focused on was we all hopefully now have this download of patterns for strumming for beginners, and we moved along to rhythm number 8 today and focused on something there because something a little bit different happens. And you do have numbers down the side here. That's the bar number down the side. So if you find bar number 7 and then move on to the next one, you'll be on bar 8, which is the rhythm that we're going to look at. And what happens here that's a little bit different to the other rhythms in those exercises is once we get to rhythm number 8, you're going to actually miss a down strum. And all of the rhythms so far, whenever you've missed a strum, it's been an up strum, which for whatever reason feels quite like a natural thing to do, to go down, down. You don't necessarily think about the fact that you're missing the up in between. But when you start having to miss a down, for a lot of people that starts to feel a bit unusual and harder to achieve. So you have to practice missing the strings. And to do that, what you do is you take your index finger. Remember, we're strumming with the index finger now and not the thumb. And just practice missing the strings by doing a down stroke where you miss the strings. And we can call that a miss, or I might even call it a ghost because it's there but it's not playing the strings. And for this rhythm number 8, what's going to happen is we've got tea, coffee, rest, ba, because we've got a quaver and then a crotchet at the end. So the rhythm would sound like this: 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. And notice on the 3 my hands are apart. And because that's a downbeat, it's a little more of a different feeling, something to get used to, than actually always playing on the beat. So you might have to bring your hands apart on the 3 to remind you not to clap on the 3. So once again it goes like this: ready, go. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 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 Now to bring the strumming pattern into that, we want a down, down, up, down. And the reason we want to have an up, down at the end and not a down, up is because you're always going to follow this pattern of down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. It never changes. It's just that you sometimes miss the strings. So from the side then, it's going to look something like this: down, down, up, miss, up, down. So practice doing a very definite miss where you bring your hand down but miss the strings. That's really important so that you're ready for the next up. Let's try that again. Rhythm 8, ready, go. Down, down, up, miss, up, down. Repeat. And if I do the count, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 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 And what you'll notice if you look at my right hand is that it doesn't look any different when I'm doing the miss as to when I'm hitting it. So whichever of these 18 rhythms I play from the sheet, my right hand is going to look exactly the same from the front. So if I do rhythm 3, it will look exactly the same from the front when I do rhythm 8, like this. But from the side, you'd be able to see I was missing the strings. So that's rhythm 8. What I'd like you to do this week then, one thing I neglected to mention, there's a little quaver rest in rhythm 8, that little squiggly thing. That's a quaver rest, and it means silence for half a beat. And that's where you're missing the strings. Some more of those will be coming up later in some of the other rhythms. And what I'd like you to do is see how far you can get with the other rhythms. See if you can get to the end of the sheet. You can either practice them by going round lots of times and repeating. So this is rhythm 2 now, and I'm just repeating it and repeating it. Or Or you can mix them up. So say you wanted to do 2 and 3, you could do this. So that time I mixed the rhythms. There's one other thing that's not mentioned on this sheet, which is kind of almost taken for granted when you're playing pop and rock music, which is something called the backbeat. And that is an accent on beats 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And it's where the drummer would hit the snare. And it's a really important element of rock and roll music and a lot of pop music. So you need to have that, you need to feel that accent in your body and put that into your strumming patterns. If you wanted to write it in, you can do it. I've done it in pencil here. If you wanted to write it in, it's done using that sort of sideways mark there that I've put in pencil at the top over beats 2 and 4. And it basically means that instead of sounding completely straight, let me take a rhythm, rhythm 7. I'll try and play it straight. But what you're going to mostly want is the accent on beats 2 and 4 when you're using it. So it's got a feel to it, a groove. And then it's going to be more like this. Sort of exaggerating so that you can see where the backbeat is. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Oh, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's the accent covered, and I'd like you to use that in all your practice. And if you want to go up a level, try mixing and matching some of the rhythms together. So I think we did up to rhythm 10 today in our Zoom workshop, the free workshop. So I'm going to go up to rhythm 10, but do one at a time. I'm coming back closer because my sheet's just over here. So up to rhythm 10, 1 bar of each. It would go like this. Like so. And when you get to rhythm 10, it becomes interesting. This one does look very different to the others, rhythm 10, because it's all on the offbeat. Just an up strum on the offbeat, quaver rest on the downbeat. So it's a and. And that's basically a reggae rhythm. And one of the things that makes reggae work is that it's all on the offbeat. And what I would do for a reggae rhythm, if I mute my strings, is I would actually bring my hand gently onto the neck of the ukulele and then use flat fingers to strum the offbeat. So it would sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that gives you a little bit more of a percussive sound for playing reggae, which is quite suitable for reggae songs. And we'll do one of those next week. Now, another exercise we did this week was I was playing Jump in the Line, F to C7. And I'm using this movement of the ukulele just to help you know when I'm changing chord, that's all. And what I did this week was I played it with a rhythm for you. And I'm going to play that again here. See if you can find this rhythm on your sheet. It is one of those. We've actually got 2 of these rhythm patterns squidged into 1 bar, so technically it would be semi-quavers and not quavers, but you should hopefully still be able to find the rhythm there. And let me know next week which one you think it is, which number bar. And and this is it. Shake, 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 Sonora, shake your body line. Shake, 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 Sonora, shake it all the time. Work, 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 Sonora, work your body line. Work, 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 Sonora, work it all the time. My girl's name is Sonora, I tell your friends I adore her. And when she dances, oh brother, she's a hurricane in all kinds of weather. Jump in the line, rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you, jump in the line, rock your body in time. Now if I slow that down a bit for you, my right hand was doing this. you recognise that one from the sheet, and maybe if you can have a go at playing that song using that rhythm this week. Now our new chord for this week is a G chord, which looks something like that. But before you attempt it, watch the way I do it, because there's a little trick with this one if you've not done it before. Your first finger is going to go onto the second fret of the C string. You then need to use your knuckles to swizzle around a little bit to give you more room, like this. Once you've done that, you then have room to put the second finger down on the second fret of the first string, and then your third finger remaining comes onto the third fret of the second string. If you get any dead notes, something like this, little dead ones in there, just remember your fingers need to be on their tips as much as possible, curving over and letting the strings be free underneath. You can test your chord by doing a gentle sweep, like so. And that is your G chord. We're going to use that one today as well. You might want to try some tapping game with the G chord. So you can do this with any chord that you're trying to learn fresh and new and that you haven't got used to. What you're going to do is strum the chord once and then take the left hand and tap the left leg and then pop it back on, strum it and tap. Get yourself a bit of a tempo going on. And when you're at a tempo where you can do it well, which may be slower or faster than this, then you can go a little bit faster. And obviously the ideal is that you won't be looking either, like that. You'll be not looking and getting your chord on, and that might happen. So you need to listen as well if you've hit the wrong fret number, as it were. Anyway, that's your G chord. So now we are going to move on to the final bit of music for today, which is Lean on Me. And I sent you a link on chordify.net for Lean on Me, which will show you the chord sequence as it goes through. So feel free to use that Chordify link. However, if you don't want to use the Chordify, that's fine, because I'm going to strum a C, and then when I go to F, I'm going to bring my ukulele up. So when you see it go up, you don't need to put it up, just change to F. And then when I do a G, I should try and go down towards the floor like that. Now, what I'd like you to do with Lean on Me this week is, as I play through, I'd like you to pick one of several levels to practice at. And part of your discipline when you're learning an instrument is to choose the level which is giving you some work and some serenity or something. You don't want to do the level where it's so difficult that you're driving yourself mad. But you might want to practice it at a level where you can go correctly and until you feel really confident with that, and then take it to the next level and start to push things a little bit. So level number one would be to just pulse strum the chords. So just once in every bar, which would look like this. 1, 2, ready, C. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there is always tomorrow. That is your chord sequence to practice. If you're comfortable with that, start looking at these strumming patterns and choose different ones to strum. So you could practice it once with this rhythm, but then maybe use that one another time. And just see which feels best for you. I will probably use a couple of rhythms and alternate between the two because I'm just feeling what I want to do, and that would be level 3. So here we go. No singing unless you want to. If you add the singing, you're adding another layer of complexity because your voice is creating syllables of sound which are giving yet another rhythm on top of this rhythm, and the chord changes happening with the left hand. So that's 3 different jobs going on. So it's probably best to try and perfect the hands before putting the voice in, then perfect the voice before putting the hands in, and then try putting them together. But I also have some other tips for learning to sing and play at the same time. and we're going to look at those next week. So here we are, we're going to do something like the whole song to finish off. Okay, here we go. Oh, 1, 2, ready, go. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there is always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'll see you next week.